and nay the Casama for no shows. The shows emreso no kasa kanoho. One I did you made you more HFR out doing in so you do ebo nim seka wo ho. Na the only the ebo some for no the Japan also ebo mpaye ehye se wadaroma once eso mbeka ho munyamba nyina no yo kakai for na form beka ho asode na nyina bewe ya de asida ene ayeye ne nkafo modi shisha ene dengina wadunti amen.
Amen. Oh, that's I'm sure. The toss one scripture reading or yenya obusuama for the scripture reading ever brain.
And then scripture reading, Ibn free Ecclesiastes 12, verse 13 to 14. Ecclesiastes 12, verse 13 to 14. I say, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is man's all. For God will bring every work into judgment, including every secret thing, whether good or evil. Amen.
Amen. That's it. The theme song, no, by Abigail Aka and a Deba Brain.
But your mental verses Nina.
Pacho Betima, I'm waiting to Betima to first stanza. That's
okay. What we have in Jesus? Oh, our sins and griefs to bear. Oh, privilege to carry everything to God in prayer. Oh, these we often forget. Lord, you must bring me back. Oh, because we do not carry everything to God in prayer. Amen.
Amen. I be Yankopon sure be brave. Me am did you me dear ho channel me den na say wa boating. Me pa me chow enne de Yankopon nam ne so a obekasa atwen e wa ya pom den ho. Your friend no Dr. Benjamin Opoku Bediako. Dr. Benjamin Opoku Bediako, a clinic director for Athletic and Therapeutic Institute in Maryland. A therapeutic pain specialist. A vestibular rehabilitation specialist. A health ministries leader at NASDAQ Central Zone. Dr. Benjamin Opoku Bediako, some Washington Ghanaian SDA Church. Or a personal ministry secretary. You man also into we are very privileged. Say and then when I am where on a babe che ni nim dear na yon so yetimede abra yen apumudin into Dr. Opoku Bediako Mpacho so we're Cincinnati Ghanaian SDA Church as for my and we are really happy to have you on Mpacho Jemoma.
Happy Sabbath.
Happy day.
Happy day.
Mede and Chiasonko, Nana, that's a pay year. You know, Bano, dear Nimo, Etonium, no, yeah, that's a power for such a melodious song. And your kind of memory texts and so my and hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Say, you soon yanko pony a day, you need him ransom so. Pastor Kusi, me that's say, and met me about what church things maybe I won't come there, but I'm a former church member and I'm a touching a backbench or I acquired so. It's that's say and yet to me abana baba best virtually.
What about him?
Maba medium with us.
Make I quite so church, yes. So Pastor, thank you so much. It's a privilege and me can say it is an honor that we don't take for granted. Say unyako poye adom say and they have a platform you. So Dr. Stephen, Dr. Yen to me there. I say we've been meeting so many times and
when the call came, say, we couldn't say no. But as I said, then it's an honor to be here to also talk. Now, and net, yeah, Baba can be for return on investment. Let me say, there have been a whole lot of messages that have gone on from the beginning of the week. Very, very powerful ones. I think said, no, Madam for Dr. Stephen Eka, a very important thing, talked about sleep. Now, many aging who now one of the questions Dr. Yentumi was about the correlation between sleep and mortality. Now, and said, yes, there's a good correlation also between sleep and then pain intensity. Maybe another time, you beka ehwasem, and you man penny for the can my colleagues be a very important. Na say a dear Juma and ka a beboye pa. And they said a medical can say ye baba beche be on return on investment, the health way. The health way. Yeah, kind investment. Investment that would do be financial investment, education investment, the whole lot of investment. Na say a buy a pomodina. Nyoma yesuani throughout the whole week, it's an investment. See the year Juma a investment. Na and then me pese me buana ye bono tofa no chana. You didn't ya questions. I hold on anyway, said in your day abba. Memory text way, Jeremiah 33 verse 6, or can say, behold, I will bring it health and cure, and I will cure them, and will reveal unto them the abundance of peace and truth. Onyankopon ashe your boss obey area. Now, dog now about cancer anyway. Sometimes you some of these things it scares us to death. But Onyankopon a faithful and just say, what my promise is say obey them, obey say area. Na yare na oba be say no on say yare keke or do no cry any asundje den e ka ho. Enti enioma yesua na wotwe nyina hear the conclusion of the whole matter and then say Onyankopon ahye bo say osuru huru na ehro na asoro tema mepo etutu mpo a in Psalm 46 verses 1 to 3 also Onyankopon ye nkwaje ne ya hoden ahohia mu boafo mpa ye nya no hunie enti se asase ni dan even all the things that are happening around us no ene home dey first word you say we serve a God what say about say no matter what he will see us through. And then me person me di way ni ani me de share ya adwum say yes ye camp modern wasem ba ye camp modern wasem keke because for us as Adventists we believe that God has called us into what I call a medical missionary work to make health, not to make healthy sinners out of people who come to our programs. Me person de share ya adwum say Nyankopon amre amfaya mas yemra me healthy sinners. But Nyankopon per se menewo ye healthy, faithful Adventist Christians. Fi say adwuma owo maye no nyame abot na ebeka ho eson. Na nam say adwuma owo maye na eson ntino we need our full strength. Yentimi mfa yare no fe enye nyame adwuma enunti. And he called us to be people who are healthy Christians, not healthy sinners. And to see that is as far as near the combination of the whole matter. And then said, Onyankopon per se ye healthy Christians. And it is my expectation, especially after this presentation, and all the presentation I wait here this week in Israel. At least Andrew or program no at least you might have made at least 2 lifestyle changes and to present your body as a living and acceptable sacrifice to God. That is what God wants us to. to learn, and I said to get into. That is my expectation. And I know, sir, it is God's expectation of you too. Now, yeah, question E.G. White, I can't assembly, our counsels on diet and food, or say all our habits, tastes, and inclinations must be educated in a harmony with the laws of life and health. By this means, we may secure the best physical conditions and have the mental clearness to discern between evil and good. Or say, as I say, you see, the baby says, I then I watching your ideas for your health program, and as a health evangelism. Or say, I didn't conscious woman can say, oh, Yanku Pompes, I did we see, send ye beya, ya jimu bedaho. Send ye beya behu, and soon at that papa any bonintem. Various medical research will tell you, say, anytime people are sick, their judgment and their mental state, you know, Dr. Yuntumi talks about mental health. It is when your mental health is not sound, it is difficult for you to make sound judgment. So what do you mean now? A says sometimes certain critical decisions when you better how with my and addition yes and I watch and I say yes and I watch you know the essence of it is say it's a say ya dream ya day at that ho near to me who so that bonny any papem. If it's a mrena yedruno, a mrebia, I know a ding a pie year. Now, yes, I watch me say, ya can't be brave state of our health, and then Yariano a two just me time and can't just even some of them. But one of the basic things John Travis can once a man. I did conscience to cry at the twice and then said, yet diseases and symptoms are what we call the body, mind, and spirit attempt to solve a problem. Into Yarian and not just a body problem, it is both a mind and spiritual problem. And most times, we are chasing what we call symptoms. Instead of finding the root cause of your problems, most times we are chasing the symptoms. Yes, Nikoto Yeniya, or no Ibia, or no Advil, no Sabia Neko. But the reason why Pana and Makoto Yeniano on page Rakwine. Most time I say they say a lot of times, you know, if you take pills and surgery, now the lifestyle changes. About 98% of the population will go for pills and surgery and live lifestyle changes. Now what you mean? But in a study in 2017, Babodai or say most chronic diseases one is driven by lifestyle. Some of the cardiovascular and cancer, diabetes, anywhere here, Dr. Freda Beckham, all these things, you know, a lot of them is driven by lifestyle. But even for the scientific community in your mokani, but so I didn't consider later on we'll talk about that. Also talks about that. So lifestyle is one of them. But one of the things that said, healthcare does not make you healthy. If healthcare makes you healthier, and America can grow for because you can't in the entire world that we have supposedly have the best healthcare. But as I say, you said healthcare doesn't make you healthy. Now, in one of the studies, I may try said, me bring it up now. I'm making it a little bit graphic, you know. So we find the part what makes us healthy? What makes us healthy? And then they said, there's 10% of healthcare services and they make you healthy. 20% of your health is dependent on your genetics. Genetics in your can wawusu. Another 20% of our health, you know, is determined by the environment. Then 50% of your health is determined by your healthy habits.
subanya wo fa so di dipadua ya onyankopon di ama wo no kwanya wo fa so di ye no habit usu no 50% of your health is just dependent on your health habits. Meaning say choose right health habits. Na se unya environment. Memfa na say USA out here. We take it ideally it's a good environment. When you're 20%, I can. Na memfa na say the next 20% na aye genetics. Ebi aye wo no we need chronic problem bia mpenyufo edi kan was we need emu bia yamfa bia ngo. Many people can say you are born a pure blood. Oh, you're pure blood. Into when you're another 20%, meaning say senka leaves no so obey area. It's just about the 10%. But interesting statistics here you win hey. Say 50% of our health, 50% of the time is determined by our habits. You know. Let's look at something. Most times, yeah. And this is a report I publishing in 2018, the final affordability report. Omuhu said 88% of your resources go into healthcare services. Yemu bebre yesusi enisika. Nanso most of your costs go into healthcare because 50% yeah, what higher you can once a lot of us don't want to make those healthy habits and changes. No, we don't want to do it. Here the conclusion of the whole matter. Your memory person said, fear God and keep his commandment. Yes, in terms of health, change your health habits. And 50% of the time, at least you'll be healthy. Most of us are spending 88% of your resources on healthcare services. My example, Obi catches onisika or the better fruits and vegetables or the be man and ma and also no mwedi. But my main country will say, you might have to cover $300,000 for heart surgery. You might have to spend thousands of dollars to deal with diabetes. You might have to spend thousands of dollars to deal with hypertension. So if you think, say, a $20 apple is expensive, try a $300,000 heart transplant. Now you're spending 88% of our resources, your income, on healthcare services. No? You're spending only 4% on our habits, healthy habits. The healthy habits that form 50% now. And can I say, yeah, resources, economy. So say a lot of economics people and finance people are here, so they can relate very well with what I'm trying to put across. Instead of saying, me use this example, Mufie no muye nipa 4, a family of 4. Nipa baako already use more than 50% of their family resources. Imagine how that turns out for the rest of the family. Into no crampo or yakitu our family no use a chunk of the resources. And most of that is what we are doing. And we are spending a lot of the 50% in the moment. I think you're spending more of our resources on. No. The 10% now, and no need to tell me your health, you know, you're spending 88% of our resources on it. Where I can make it up, and it's most times, that's why I always try to put the sources and then the research in it down, so that you can take time and go read it for yourself, so that you don't just take my word for it. And then make kind of say things that have the biggest effect on our health, you know, often cost the least. Neoma having the biggest effect: good sleep, hydration, sunlight, good communication, or having family resources, which the Adventist Church, especially the Ghanaian community, have in abundance. Or this platform, you have a good community, exercise, good diet, things that we've talked about in this week. those things form 50% of our resources or biggest effect on our health. But those are the things that cost the least. But most of us don't want it because it only involves some effort. You move a brain effort. Sometimes you can't say, oh, you didn't say most of us, when it comes to our health, you because this 50%, involves some work. But when it comes to our health, we will not do it. In the E.G. White can same way, in cancers on diet and food, or say the majority of diseases which the human family have been and still are suffering, or say yarea who do bebrea nipa tetemire na wo na neso yedaso ete home penten kwa. We are still suffering under. They are created by ignorance of their own organic laws. Or say, ya nyankopon we dear no manual or dear my say the laws governing our body, we are ignorant of it. And no, and now or training now or kind of Travis D can wasem no or no nya kwan hweni. It is a what would you say E.G. white phobia. Travis or say a lot of the diseases, cardiovascular hypertension, diabetes, a lot of them is determined by what? Lifestyle. E.g. White can or see, they seem indifferent in regard to the matter of health. Or say a buy a pomodia, ye will be ye will enfame subai. We seem indifferent about it. And they work perseveringly to tear themselves to pieces. Or see, you must be, ya better not call ye juma te no say ye pesika. Or say, and when broken down and debilitated in body and mind, na see ye sad and ye say ye read and ye say ya didn't. Or see, they send for the doctor and drag themselves to death. Or say they what? They go to the doctor, no aba. Doctor Antuntmin Trudrubia mame. And the we talk about opioid pandemic. This we get can drag some wasem. A lot of us we are dragging ourselves to death. These are not my words. These are words from the Spirit of Prophecy, Counsels on Diet and Food. See, you move a brain, you can't say them from a new man, the lifestyle changes. I can't watch them now. What you when you know? No, we will work ourselves and destroy our body and mind. And then afterwards, we drag ourselves to death. Because a lot of us, we are indifferent when it comes to our health. If you come between our careers, our work, any obivufra, they will kill you for it. But when it comes to their health, or person napomodin or not there, or can certain them if you're not the question Dr. Binsa, so no take care of it. Mamma can't show Dr. For what platform in Kasani or Mao, they also have their own problems to deal with. So don't you ever think you said they will leave theirs and prioritize your health over theirs. And if you will not take your own health into your own hands, I'm sorry, probably I might be hard on somebody here, but I have to. And this won't prioritize our health. Now obey Juma to already now. This week, Mr. Bediako, the patient of or complaining still, he's not getting better. His back pain, his lower back, and then you will say it's not. Until comedy, I just came in. I'm like, okay, can I take over your patient? Because mostly we do what we call caseload round. Every patient that we're discussing here, and I'm so okay. Let me see what I can do to help with patient. Now, I'm saying anything come on. I'm making no saying on the oba for therapy.
That's all. He doesn't have time. He doesn't have time to do anything else. He doesn't have time. And oh yeah, he doesn't have time. He doesn't have time to be an answer. Listen, my Mr. Wasem, do you have time to go do servicing for your car? Also, oh, of course. And one I'm so I have time to go. And I'm saying, you know what? Do you know that the biggest car you have? The biggest car you have is this body you are laying on this couch on. Trust me, you say you don't have time. But let me tell you, when this back start acting up, whatever you're doing that you think that is more important, that back will lay you down and that thing will go to hell. I feel not hear me. All of a sudden, he had a reality check. And I'm saying, hey, this body now, that is that car. If you don't have time to service it, one of these, this back pain is just a check engine light. And all you are doing, and they said, that check engine light comes on, and you just want to just go to a mechanic wayside mechanic. No, I can't tell you, so you check engine light in every so. Obey, a bed lasts you for 2 to 3 days. A lot of us, that's what we're doing. Lasting 3 weeks, 1 week. Check engine light and an asshole. And I wouldn't no fit. Now one pen word Juma yet, and then your ma yakan and I would one fine year Juma. Start check engine light, a be a full-blown engine in your face. And whatever business you have, no, I'm sorry to say this. If that body is not functioning very well, trust me, you aren't going anywhere. Since you can't open, sometimes I say, Obe bre ho pepe na bibia anya se so yare a ka na wato na odi akosi Ghana no wo fa sefo ne obusofo ne betwi efie na wo bre ho nti no kwa akosi wo Ghana 6 bedroom house 10 bedroom house say na be ka se wo ye Ghana wo ye boga no wo beda manchua bi wo sam bed bi so wo krom ha na obi afasa dan no enti ene ye to aso. Hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Me zooming in kakra. I've been told to talk about exercise. Nemdi Kankania was just an introduction for us to have the importance of what we've done this whole week. Hear the conclusion of the whole matter. This week, you can weighing less. Do not drink. Adventist body, you can say you can. Smoking. Me sure say Pastor Kusimon and Kusibu Achimwa Kanwasem. Pastor, it's so interesting. Say, Pastor Emmanuel, yes. Doctors are holding the whole week. Managing your cholesterol, a good social network. But and then another one. What is the biggest return on investment? Which of these things are yakan? Which one comes first? The chicken and the egg situation. Okay. And I took Kusiana as a Kutiana and a Yakon, which is which. What makes the biggest difference to your health? And you know my Yakana. And then I'm a person me no come was it. Now, Papa be a friend as a Professor Stephen Blair. Ubi our team is a mechanic, studies be our anytime I love this study. Now, I'm going to take you about 10,000 Harvard alumni. And almost here, what we call a prospective study into almost for 12 years. No one say, or yes, another intervention a day by and say they were able to lower their risk of death by 23% than those who did not get this particular treatment. And that in treatment, any treatment be as an exercise. And that exercise, and yet any exercise who be mostly walking. So 10,000 Harvard alumni followed over 12 years. Those who just walked regularly reduces their chance of death by 23%. Just walking. Now, lifestyle changes. We go through this loop. Sorry, Juma, near better now, near TV, near da, near Juma. Maybe as you need the measure what that. No kwa juma near the Zoom and as sorry asheha Now I baby TV kakra. No, we go through this cycle. Most of us, that's what we do. We have nothing in between for any physical activity. We have nothing in between for the maintenance of the body now. Yeah, you know. Now, Stephen Bless and here another study, what we call the aerobic center longitudinal study. Now, what he did was say he studied over 50,000, this time around, not 10,000, 50,000 men and women over time. Now, or yeah, there be a friend and say attributable fraction. Now, attributable fraction, what Stephen Blair did was that he wanted to know sad nyoma yedi kan keke abobo din na watchim nyina as risk factors are a man lack of sleep, all those nyoma na keka cholesterol, diabetes, all those risk factors nyoma many people no obisa say within a particular population. Me am say Cincinnati Ghanaian SDA Church see a fast population now see when you put more these risk factors are say ye use our risk factors in the ebi free man they himpan they contribute to people's death. Now papa ni ye say obesity I can't watch them I can say check it contributes to death, smoking, hypertension, cholesterol, diabetes. Omo ye graph ni nyina omo all this hypertension na edi mu ye pa. Na omo ye na won say graph na won say krakra biso ha. And obisa say what is the biggest? No mo say adia ye ewo high your friend is a low fitness and I say cardiorespiratory fitness. And I say adia friend is low fitness is the biggest contributor to death. The biggest contributor to death. Yes, I don't know. Now, Obi say how? Because almost say Obi high fitness, ni obesity is managed. Already panel on smoky, ni hypertension ni koye, ni cholesterol is managed, diabetes is managed, and to okoda otiminya good sleep. And you realize that it has rippling effect on all the other risk factors. And you almost say the biggest predictor of death is low fitness. Now, enunti, we have pills for hypertension, we have pills for cholesterol, we have pills for diabetes, we have pills for so many things. But hardly do you see, say, we throw fitness and other things into the mix. Because it involves a lot of effort. Most of us don't want it. Pills, they're not so friends, you know, and also, Ghana, yo Ghana, no, no, just no, many. Don't I feel me, boy? Often tell what, and no, and no, they're easy. Or that, or Tanana Konya, no, can and I to swear. Yaman, sir. Fansioni frame ebreme. Oh, move cry. Yeah, move sometimes I can say we have some of the reasons why our kids are so disobedient. Papa ti honum car piece in any so best sorry pa. Equia man who come. Daryl come. Or by daddy, I'm here. Oh, can you bring me the carpet and then fetch some water for me? It will be no. We have zero active lifestyle. And sometimes when I talk to most Ghanaians, most of us, your community, your nanti crown fa mukra who they be a community in the cry, assemble crown eka to untum the power obey mafa. We don't. And all we're doing is a hana metana homeda and yeto. But I can trust you, say the a hana metana homeda very soon you better show your best mama. Sorry if I sound so strong today. And yes, you are there, kakra. And this why you are doing say, Nyoma yes, you and I watch even you now. You want to make some change, Mr. Don't let social media put you off. You move you some of the exercise and then you might be on social media. We get scared. They were like, we already ain't me. Please. Don't let social media put you off. Okay? One of the things you know, so why just stop your exercise? One of the things you should note and say, exercises don't have to be perfect to be done. Here, fitness instructor with some degree, why? It doesn't have to be perfect for you to do it. That is the first time I saw this show. The other thing, some is always better than none. So we exercise need be a yes no be or not no can answer in the different form. Sometimes I use finance as an example. Make sure say if there's any financial expert here, you can just collaborate with me. Or collaborate with what I'm saying. Obi o save even $1 a day. I think say it's better than somebody who saves $0 a day. But your finance firm wa meboa. Because your idea friend is a cumulative effect. So bit me save $1 a day. Now me fan say, yeah, what how many weeks? 52 weeks. Meboa 52 weeks, 365 days, or $365 in a year. What you say, Jessica? But $365, you know, say Nippon say no, 20 years. Now we'll call retirement in 70 years. In 70 at 70 years, 20 years, 50 years, 365 times 70. How many people go on retirement with that amount of money? But your mom will maths, no. Mobeti mama me figure no. Obi call retirement 365 times 70 years, times 50 years. So times 50. So
$25,000.
$25,000. Mama, that's Nyamisha. $25,000. But mama, you're sure so people will call retirement at 70, $25,000 only be. Imagine say with the retirement, what I say 25,000 or they call Ghana. And you didn't say the next 20 years, and say maybe I don't be 20 years be your account. Or retirement, $25,000, compared to somebody or no one save kobo. No, at 70 years or call retirement. So what am I saying? Obia or yeah, even 5 minutes, and I'll say this 5-10 minutes every day. The cumulative effect of it, you know, is so great. And one of the things I tell you, some is always better than none. Yantuaso. Adiaba say when they say your muscles and your tissues and one basic principle, just like our spiritual life. It is use it or lose it. When you go upon the parable of the 10 talents, when you go upon my example, say, I'll tell you, the man who you so what do? You lose it. The same way your muscles, you know, will there be an example say God put Adam and Eve in a 5-star hotel in Garden of Eden. Or do you one country Adam some kind of he asked him to take care of it. By doing that, he was active, developing the skills and the intellect that God gave him. And I will show you research upon research about the benefit of exercise and mental health, even for studying. And most times, the reason why I say I'll go to a week, week, we show that week, is because now we don't. Remember example. First, yes, we are kaka. Utia strip sticky. On sabako ha. Oye, o back off. What kind of coins now? There's no way I'll come by stiff. So we get another kind of do. Make up pasta ima a Mercedes Benz a 540 no no. What's the why? There's no way I'll come by stiff. And then technology might be is so easy. Say we hardly move, and because of that, we are losing the strength. Next one. One of the things we also notice is as we age, we lose muscles, and that is called sarcopenia. Your muscles in any way say a weak. Now, and I'm saying weak, this is what you should see. In a recent study, and I'll take this image, I'll say, this is the image, this is what we call the quadriceps muscle. So if I were tying on some memphans away and tie, now we try any musea. And no, I had to say, I could cost and once we try any sir. We a 35-year-old man. Obi on also 55 years. One said 55, one said, I dear white way, a fat, and I shall say, I dear friends, adipose tissue. Obi on 85 for no, one say 85 muscles, and I get when I had tissues, fat tissues, I feel it happen. Now look at something else. You must say, I dear friends, sarcopenia, no, I get loss of muscle mass, no. It has so many effects on health and function, including diabetes, cardiovascular, osteopenia, dementia, loss of independence, and premature death. Are they a steady way? Pacific on a year, 2020, yeah, I know, yeah, this study. This is the latest study that was done. Losing of muscle mass. It is attributed to all of this. Now, the interesting thing is that you can prevent this sarcopenia with regular exercises. Hallelujah.
Amen.
You can prevent all of this. But you know the funny thing? Not only when you do some of these things, you build your muscle mass, or cholesterol now build it up, your tissues now are able to use it. The cells are able to use the tissues. Sugar now, Adriana are converted into simple sugars now until bloodstream. When you do the exercise, it creates a difference, a tissue depth. The cells are able to absorb those simple sugars, and then those sugars do not stay in your blood to get you the diabetes. And I can say you've used one stone. What they are multiple if I should say that. So the question is, why don't we want to do it? And the amount so no mame Wabrisky also making this study. This is a 40-year-old triathlete. Ne cells not the same way you back on or no a 40-year-old and one that muscle bulk in the inside. I wear black and white. Obi a 70-year-old sedentary male. Papa, when you're 70 years, and on your when you're 70 years, you're the muscles in the eye. White. But look at something interesting. This is another 70-year-old male triathlete. Obi and also when you're 70 years, 40 years and then 70 years. Look at the muscle mass, almost symmetrical. But what is happening here? This is something they did in cadavers, like Nipa, you would not, you do more studies, for those in a medical field, you know what I'm talking about. And what am I saying? All that I'm saying is that you need to keep on working those muscles. Keep those muscles working. And I want to tell you why just constantly just sitting down and resting is not always the best. Let me give you an example. Yeah. Say anytime you're in injury, when your activity or your like, and most times this is how it happens. Anytime your activity exceeds your tolerance and I say your capacity, injury happens. And the main fan say, this is our capacity. And the water bottle, your children say a 300 mils and a bit me a comb. Anytime be a medin so more than 300 mils begum piano, but you be bit me or mutin way yano, and then a beba. Wait 300 mils. Meaning say wo me fan say wa ba say on exercise no onya ne hwe ukotoje anase we need no 9 hours dey do exercise no enti amode e wom no just 300 mils Enti memfa ne say o muscles na ahode e wo me ne say e betimi anante after 3 hours pe. Also wadwuma you gina ho for 8 hours. And what do we have? Simple maths. 3 minus 8 is 5. And now your muscles 5 into 5 mils of remember 500 mils of water a day. Send them how many can a day. If you say when it comes to your strength now, then what happened? And then the pain you experience. Like I said, sometimes we'll have time to talk about pain, which happens to be one of my specialties. Pain is 100% produced by the brain in response to a threat. Anytime we are now, with tissues experiencing anything I hear more than they can take, that is when pain comes about. And some of the threats, it's not just physical threats. It can be emotional, it can be psychological. Anytime that your brain even gets overwhelmed by the things that are around you, you get injury, you get pain. So pain in sometimes you can get emotional pain. And I think that Dr. Yentime talks about that. From pain neurophysiology, that's one of the things we come to know. So sometimes even people's pain is even enhanced, not because of the physical injury, but the emotional scars that they carry over them. But so you know, said there is a balm in Gilead. Enti semen say wo capacity ne enuni ena wo so activity level ha ena dakro nana say wa ka che say o move nti bra beboa no ena wo call ye na ne couch ye weigh 50 pounds wo so back muscles yi wo lifting fa and working and strengthen the crowd beyond 10 pounds ena call na so couch ni wo so mu na wo lift ye after the 3 days later wo si na ye. You lifted a 50 pounds couch in which your back muscles could only carry 10 pounds. So after that, what happens? An injury is happening. Now that you have the injury happening, most people after the injury, what we do is say, you rest after an injury. But one of the things you also notice is when you rest after your injury now, that your activity, for you to recover, it also reduces your capacity further. And the capacity blue line and our activity we move from here now the quantity do an XCD and a winner injury. Injury into what rested or resty and our capacity now drop further. And our activity level not drop so much below than the previous level. Now, this is what most of us do. And the meaning says, I want to pain the cut down. Now, person back. Already remember, your capacity have dropped again. For most people, okay. Now, I sign for where's now I sign cause an injury because now the activity now exceeding the capacity. And most of us go through this roller coaster. In the first never down after the way say now or cut downhill. And no never first no to me turn us about 10 hours here, Juma. Say or turn us 30 minutes, then this is not as the capacity and the tolerance of the tissue have dropped so much, sir. After the first injury, they did not actually take decisive steps to build their capacity up. And our capacity level now drop so low. So right now, the slightest thing, they hit the roof. That is how people go through this roller coaster phase of re-injury and pain. Something we call the pain cycle. And some person what boy this what normally what we do in say, yes, you might have the injury and other things, and you might want to rest, but you might want to build your capacity or maintain your capacity. And sometimes we'll be baby me sure say question will be baby how do you do that? And yes, I might not be able to work because of that. But what happened to me? Some pride. I can be doing things to increase my strength.
What about my 9? I can be doing things that will improve my capacity whilst the hand heals up. Or do things or take measures to get the healing that I need. And most times, that is one of the things I'm a person to share. And you say, anytime your activity exceeds your tolerance, that is when the issue of injury comes in. And resting from activity or sports, when you're injury, or in pain, is often as advised. But you also need to consider maintaining and also building with strength, with endurance, or capacity level whilst you are recovering. It is critical. Talking about this capacity and all those things, Stephen Blair, another second study. Now, okay. The correlation between this week, I can't say diet, obesity. I'm taking synopsis of some of these things. And who say, Obia or you obese, or not you obese. Now, one sign exercise, what's them the anchor? Or it's a bad combination. But when say, Obia or you exercise, now or you even obese, they are able to ameliorate a lot of the consequences, the negative consequences of obesity. Into or exercise, the negative consequences of obesity can't come some draw this weekend. They are able to cut it off and also reduce it significantly. And to be say, is it better to be fat and strong or weak or lean and weak? I know say probably that question might have crossed your mind. Now, I always like say whenever I put up, I want the study, I want the research because I love research because that's one of my strong parts. I always want to put that across. In 2021, last year, Akaza make this in the British Journal of Sports Medicine. Or make this study. Or say, almost looking at 2,565 healthy elderly subjects. And penny for more than healthy. From the age of 65 to 91. And almost measure almost fat percentage. And almost measure almost waist size. Most times, vitals are. Those are some of the things I measure. And you check here almost BMI levels. And you hear almost muscle power. Now, muscle power, what they use to test muscle power, I do a friend said the 30 seconds to stand test. Quick one. Obi waha. And it's one of the things I'll bet my year. What's it with the winter exercise? I will recommend saying the 30 seconds to stand test involved for the say. And rather say phone. Now the timer, now they have to 30 seconds. What do you do? And they say within 30 seconds, at least for any average adult, you should be able to do 15 sit and standing within 30 seconds. At least 15. And that was the test we had to test what we call muscle power. So what the didn't say easier. Me pese wo challenge huna ye 30 seconds. Me pese me pause 30 seconds. Me be so timer. Baby a wo bia no say, wo baby a wetimi aye nko ade a. A simple test me pese ye nyina ye 30 seconds. Me ba put timer ye won. 30 seconds. Baby a wo bia 30 seconds. Oh, stress no waka up and down. 30 seconds. Just sit there and go up and down. 30 seconds, your aim is to be able to do 15 into 1 second up, 1 second down. You are able to do, at least you should be able to do 15 in 30 seconds. Into 30 seconds, ready and go. Ten seconds more. And stop. How many of us need to mean 15 in 30 seconds? me and I saw what chat no wait mama on so and I saw wait me put 2 years e wo chat no and then you made a dwatro
But I'm always in 11.
11
Okay.
11.
Okay, Ebinya 11
Me take a walk, minya 20.
Unya 20 good. Okay.
Minya 30.
Obinya 14, Obinya 30. Now, for the sake of our time, no? 15. Okay. Mpamacho, oh yeah, and how did they feel? Was it easy? Okay. So you see, sir, man can say to Mirikao, just a simple what? Sitting and standing. Just that. You see how effective it is. And to in here fancy Nike sneakers and now say fancy Nike tops to be able to be active. Just a simple what? 30 seconds. How many of us need to make us 30 seconds within a day or be? But my need to say my mama can say, oh yeah, now if I say imagine say in a day, you do this 5 times in a day. How much Obika say Nikotoje? See how much strength you build in your quad. Ukotoje, unem, and once a wakuma say about endurance is able to fitness level attributable fraction on low fitness. Who say the more you do it after the say 15, who bet me 20. Now after the 50 crying at the end to bet me 30. That is what they did. And in BMI, no, this is how we calculate the BMI. The and almost 2,563, no, and almost steady over 9 years. And a near my kind and the BMI sit to stand test anyway, or measure it. Now, the say those who scored higher on the sit to stand test has significantly reduced risk of mortality, regardless of their weight size, body fat, and BMI levels. Interesting. But what are they not can say? Or more exercise here we hear and say, see, I just sitting up and then within those who perform very well on that test, you know. Despite they say weight size is so, despite they say big body fat, despite they say BMI level was almost reduce significantly mortality level. At the friend say so the power and the endurance, the increased fitness, and the best study, will be for Fry another study to collaborate that. Simple sit to stand. Physical activity level. Once a year, a lubricatable joint and onto joint and IST for that, there be an amoko to Jenny. Is because I said, my example, and one of the things he says, the fluid that will go to Jenny. Anytime you leave it, like we mentioned, as we age, the fluid density and answer viscosity it reduces. So what now you are not active, but what happens is it kind of like becomes like a glue. And the joint in the air stiff. Now eroded the joint, later on with arthritic changes, some of the normal changes. I call the normal age-related changes, now making it stiff because you are not moving it. Sembre mama and commit mama steady upon steady upon steady. Into results. The result in the highlight is say muscle mass, strength and power are better predictors of mortality than body fat, waist size, and BMI levels. And yes, probably BMI over roof. Body fat in the years will be a crash also way fat. But if you can do some of these things and build your strength, your power anyways, despite those things, they have not changed. But within what we call at the biomechanical level, and I said at the cellular level, micro level, you have better health than the average person, than the very person there. Or you have better health than that person.
Yemreneko. And none of you can say sometimes referred to as fat but fit paradox. So it just to highlight to say being fit and strong can reduce and even eliminate the harmful effects of being overweight. And it also goes on to say, this is not an excuse. Say, no, oh sorry, did you anyhow? And just throw it away. That is not an excuse. So, oh, fat crown, that is not an excuse for you to go eat anyhow. But it does mean, say, if you are engaging in regular exercises and you are maintaining your muscle mass and power, maybe you can enjoy a few ones once in a while, but not too much and not worry so much about it. But the man who see exercise, most people know is about 30 minutes. Medical can. There's another study. Me person me this here. Na me person ye de etias ye say. Me person me can say apart from the sit to stand yaka now. One last time me person me introduce within the next 3 minutes. Now you're using the academic visa question and say. Steve Black has said most of the best thing is just walking. Now the value of working and maybe a question I will use that to expand that. Just walking. And some of the near and sit to stand. Basic stuff. It's enough to even help ameliorate it, like reduce the effect of some of the health problems at your work. Maybe a move brain, nana yedan, senkaya dare say walk. And one of the work I recommend in some of them, I always recommend that is what we call the digestive walks. Now, the digestive walks, is a 10 to 15 minute walk after eating. And me person, baby, I will be with the rule say free neko. If you have the number one rule, they say every evening, no. After me time lunch crap with the more drum and read the movie. It is a rule in this house, say. After meals every day, no matter the time of bed, you have 10 to 15 minutes what we call digestive walks. And remember, study and Reynolds here will show the effect and the benefit of doing digestive walks. It has shown say a lot of time the accumulated of sugars anyway say na ye dear a cause most of your Ghanaian diet, this week you see involves a lot of calorie content. But when you do, they realize that when you do those digestive works now, it helps to be to the cells to absorb those things and reduce the effect of some of these things that you can't want them. And now what there's a one take a crown and you may sell your amount. A draw me to amount when you 30 seconds to stand there. Digestive works. Every time, every evening, 10 to 15. So to me, the year 30 now. Oh, nyame beda wasi bebre. Obeka se mo akwapa no kwafo. Kakra me de ma wadi hu no kre. Me sure say pastors mo ha mo ne mbe ya adwen se betimi paraphrase that. That is all God wants you to do. And you remember me the best here. Na questions be ha ye diaba.
Dr. Okoko Bediako and Pacho, your questions be a bit to me out meaty, and I bet to me Edia to chat so now Doctor answer questions. No, I mean.
Doctor, that's Yamisha.
Amen.
Me Pacho, me koto jet. I is so stiff. Mintimi just like I'm squatting, intimi squatting all the way down.
Yeah.
What kind of exercise na
well, there are so many things that will be to me.
Okay.
For the sake of our time, many stress some of these ones, Philip and I said, Dr. Philip and I said, Stephen Beck do once a that I will interrogate further and make some personal recommendations as to some of the things that you can do. But even just on your bed, what we call said the child who like when Neelit is on your bed, now we'll rock it back and forth. It's similar to you squatting. And the other thing, when him said your ability to sit up, is similar to squatting. It's similar to squatting. So what me a bit easy of the tightness. And that's then when you rock yourself back and forth on your knee, may come back to because the surface in the foam is softer. Just by rock, a bit lubricated and ease of the tightness. Then we can what we call bring certain things in to build the strength of the muscles. Now the quads muscles. Most times and the hamstrings which and get weak over time. And the muscles of this also stiffness apart from the joints, the capsular problems now.
That's Miss Mason Bisane say. Maybe me pry into me koto jono ni farent se benkumuno.
Okay.
If you say don't pay na sirimu no bepem koto jono bupie. Okay. Yes, I do not. Enunti mintumi nante ginging pass the main nante no. Timi ofia the me ya ne say efie no na me Bediako ne aba esa.
Okay.
No, ebetimi aboa. Ama hunam duani nyina joint na etimi aye adwuma. Ebetimi aboa me sa.
Pamacho, medase pama. Ne say ube ebetimi aboa. Most times I tell people say even say whether Asia says it's an hour and snow near, it is even difficult to go out. But with your honor was as soon you can still do some of these things. Most times, the breast walking and that's what we call this digestive walk. All you need to do in any say, Uber walking at a pace, kakrebi, a bema will heart rate in a cost. That's all you need. And Uber maintaining the consistency in any problem. If you can consistently do addition while you say you are doing that walk in the and I said that space will feel on consistently. It will also help you so much.
But your normal heart rate, you're saying?
Normal heart rate is a person dependent. Normally, mostly the heart rate, the average heart rate is 60 to 100 beats per minute. But ideally, where it's recommended, say heart rate the closer it is to 60, the better. And this person what are dear friends say resting heart rate. Or resting heart rate, the time I say we take in and say, oh sorry, before so we get out of bed, and then they say we take it that heart rate, So we take it, we get and before so we get out of bed, that heart rate that give you what we call your resting heart rate. And ideally, it should be closer to 60, if not 60. Meaning that say you're closer to 100, I mean say. Oh yeah, I dare crab. You always now I day. O capacity. Then your friends say low fit. No, now we endurance. No, why hit it? Into what's now I shall say a day. Breathing faster. And the lower it is, and most time in the show said, if you go further, your idea Jen say VO2 max. The VO2 max is the amount of oxygen your lungs and I say can absorb during a physical activity. Now those ones, and I'm catching a lot of the technicalities out. Those ones, ideally it is age specific, and it differs from a man and a ma. Internet say, for instance, randomly, if somebody who are around the age of 40, anyway, say ideally, a bear man, you need to get an average of about 43 of the VO2 max, and you can only get that when you are consistently working out. Minimum answer question.
Hello.
also.
Hello. Doctor, it was a degree. I mean, so. Now, there's only problem is say. And can be extra a free minute a bit Mississippi. And I'm here at Chimney. I'm just going to
Yes.
I take next.
The sciatic nerve. Yes.
Me, in Antia and Mammy bread.
Yes.
And so the neighbor Pono. I'm best to make me a far. 19 bit me, I repeat me.
Okay. Yes. Say no kind of we can say a call system goes to 9. Mostly there's no muscle that long connected with your waist all the way to your foot. It is only a nerve. And say my other colleague in the kind, we call it a sciatic nerve. Mostly there are a lot of nerves that actually goes around there. Some comes in the front, some go, but the biggest one I mentioned on friend sciatica is that. Now, and no, most times, like say your fire spine and that's your lower back spine and that's the lumbar spine. It exits around the L4, L5, sometimes S1 lumbar vertebrae. Now, and most times, once you move with it, naturally, the one say your spine, so we hear from side a S shape, we hear from a chida a straight. Now, naturally, you will be a one say you will normal difference of lumbar lordosis. What honor na ekwa kakra once will be ano umu ha say no wosisi ne ekwa kom kakra. For some people, once as you go along the end and make the lack of inactivity around that na ye de transi bebre nana me was steady be ananka me say me de ebe ba na for the sake of your time this study or say physical inactivity is associated with narrow lumbar intervertebral disc. Mostly this is where it comes from. High fat content in the paraspinal muscles and low back pain and disability. For most people, and now say that inactivity in the what happened? And they say, sad spine or your spaces are when God in his own wisdom. So what your spine, yeah, say a warrior me name say me chem. Sad spine we say once open once our spaces here why. A whole nerves, if you free and I say exits, not about 9 months. For most people, these things are intricately laid. Like when you put iron, they say, what's it dino? Framework is so neat and the basis in the anytime they are shifting in this, now, especially around this area, once a come kakra naturally. And they say, what's that here? This study for most people, this it narrows the space. So as drop space or not ayekitwa. Ayekitwa but not nerve na far na say put pressure. E put pressure no ha enema onanum no nyina na asase na yede unya the pain. The good thing is say your body is plastic. Our body keep on changing based on what you put in today. And sometimes we have different nerve mobilizations are with me depending on the level of the narrowing. In extreme cases, when it is so narrow, say you cannot do anything, that is when it becomes necessary to obey surgery. But if not, most research have shown is say conservatively, doing some exercises, which probably actually because of your time, then I'll show you those ones you can do. Liberates muscles now the paraspinals, the multifidus, the all these muscles. You bet me losing up now a giant pressure now. A day to the pressure now a day to muscles, this pressure a day to the spine, as I should say, and then the muscles a bit easy up. Send a bear own auntie and also we say unya some of the problems that can once.
All right, Doctor, that's impact. We bit the question eto chat name. Say I mostly have back problems. What exercises do you recommend? And me pese we be last question. Your time ninti. Me watch na. We'll have more time for questions. Doctor, bit me answer my. Into say Doctor, Bema we last question. No, I mostly have back problems. What exercises do you recommend?
Mostly, like I said, maybe a time we probably might have to show some images of some of the back exercises that people can do. Some of the mobility exercises, and it's difficult to demonstrating. But what I probably will do is say we find time and I'll show images of some of the things that wait me easy. Most times, if you are typically having back problems, we need to know what exactly you do and a predictor and I say constantly you are getting that. Some of the things, you check engine light and everything. Excuse me, most times, we want to find out more what goes into it. If we can look at your activity and some of the things you do, when we change data, and nobody buy a mom, send a better way exercise and a be effective because you don't want a situation where you do the exercise, it eases off the pressure, then you go back to that same thing and then it comes back. But there was so many mobility exercises who beat me. They are technical until I mean because me walk around this is demonstrating, and probably we will do that and then we send at least may some since the back problem may demonstrate maybe some of the back exercise and then some of this so that we show it. But I have that and can later on the best show that to say some of these things.
Okay, yeah, that's it, baby, Doctor. I mean, sure. I think this has been very educative and informative. And we show especially healthcare. You man, a pija and I think say treated those back problems. And so, why you move, baby. I mean, sure, baby, for this very educative information. I did my anyway. Pacho. I'm watch now. You bet was so said yes. I can. You be a normal service no. Health week na yet was on every program more honum. You have 2D vitamin D deficiency. Before that, no so questions and patch me answer no the whole week no any especially any so no. You bet was so now yama doctor answer all those questions no for us. And I sit to stand now and it was very helpful. Mom watch chatting no dear. Pastor Emmanuel. Could see a when it first or you're 30 or you're 33 and so
Amen.
we have Pastor age on your 33 there let's just say and I Bediako it's Pastor Pacho announcements we will have Pacho the Beckham na where should you send in now so am I
Yo doctor I ready the wasi me gidi sake ma be 1-2 hours kura ke nipa no betwan sansa your health is very important. Na ready the wasi sa nimdie ready dia ama woni yan share na also ready the wase me sre adofo nim se ye mu bebre firi mi ahodo ane abaso asofo minyanan tie se sofo ntwada akwa adwone yen ane asofo ns kusi ono so awoso mo amabaso ni nyina Ghana fo amabaso Europe mo amabaso madwane yen ane mo nso mo free other states amadwane yen nyina we really appreciate mo maye no na wochina awia don't miss out ana divine service ne kura don't miss out sa niam bebre wo ho no mo yisa nyame ya dum o metime dia mayen entime mpese mekasa ho pi emo me invite mu nyina mo mra sa we ebre mo no your health is the most important thing assessor ye hweniye ene moma ye mompaye otumfo nyame ye da wase homeda hyasie adesua wodi amaye mfa ya pomodene ho awrade ye da wase yare bebre niam bebre ho no mo a yenyan kasa ne amekwan amanaba yenso especially lack of exercise awrade ede be biom ne yenka ye da wase yenhunu ne yen na yesu nanso na wabie window ade akire yen for most of us the entia Brebia in pain. In me say a bride be a jumano. What do no homobromo be saying yadre? Eja wakoa enso ye da wasema woni na busua. Adesua wosua wa mena nsua ne kwa. Ama wode boa yen pi se be boa yen. Sanse yentimi nante a wadwuma yentimi nyo. Ye wrade ye sra to so onko biara mana hoodene na wonfa saa message o modi kan aye presentation ni nyina chena so ye de wako ahye won sab ade ochena odom yenya wasa betoa so ene na bia no enyina yen so aye betie ye free Ghana ne mia hodo no awrade mesre adom sonko de ma wo menyina hawo ni wobisade nyina ye ne awo pefama won asafo manso abasu nyina e kasensenatifo awrade mesre se wonso obeka won ho na wobisade won hawo waya amobi biara hwe yenso anadwi ene homeda yi mu bra ya hasie o made akyen a yedi mrika yedi anigye aba besomwo awrade beboa yensa sanse bisa onyame agya nyame oba nyame hon konkro de munti amen. Just before see abeto nyomono beba no me kam se ochena Cincinnati had 9 o'clock ye shempai bo se dem paibo and also you very important we wait me at journey 9 no en munyina kwurade anim abobo mpaye ma nyame no esane no behu ye mobo da mase Sabisha, I don't know.